I am back once again for the final preview. I know I'm late, all that blah blah blah. Uh, Final dump of cards that I can finally talk about, and then I will go into the reviews. So, first off, Scale Rider. 3 cost, 3/3, neutral minion. Battle Cry, if you're holding a dragon, deal 2 damage. Honestly, a relatively decent card. Any type of dragon deck, I think, will probably run this. Probably. Hopefully. Maybe. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Scion. Doubt I said that right. Of Ruin. 3 cost, 3/2 warrior dragon with rush. Battlecry, if you've invoked twice, summon 2 copies of this. I think this is actually flat out better. If you're doing a Glockron invoke type deck, this is flat out better than the what am I? Restless Mummy. That's what it is. Especially if with Glockron you actually pull this out because the warrior one buffs. So you throw this down when he's buffed and you get 2 copies that are also buffed. So this card can be very, very strong. Shrub Battery. 2 cost, 1/1, Druid minion. Battlecry, summon a 2/2 Treant. Perfectly fine. Perfectly statted. Just pushing for more Treant stuff. Skyclaw. 3 cost, 1/2 Paladin mech. Your other mechs have +1 attack. Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 Microcopters. So this is only good if you have a big mech deck and a bunch of mechs on the board when this is played. Because if this is just played without any mechs on the board, yes, the little mechs that it summons do get the attack, but you can probably kill Skyclaw first. Which gets rid of the attack then on the 1/1s. So I don't necessarily see this actually being terribly good. I don't know if I really see it having too much play. Sky Raider. See, we like our sky stuff apparently right now. 1 cost, 1/2 warrior pirate with a battle cry of add a random pirate to your hand. Very strong for a card that adds something to your hand. Because generally what you see is 1 cost 1/1s that add something to your hand. Like, for example, Jeweled Macaw. Or Webweaver. Both of them are 1/1s that add something to your hand. Or Spring Paw is another example. Babbling Book. There's many 1/1, 1 cost 1/1 examples. But this one's a 1 cost 1/2 that adds something to your hand, which makes it even better. Very strong, very good card. Trying to push for an aggressive pirate warrior. Sky Barge. 3 cost 2/5 warrior mech. After you summon a pirate, deal 2 damage to a random enemy. So this is, I think, similar to the ship's cannon, which is a 2 cost, basically a 2 cost variation of this. The only difference between the ship and the Skybarge is Skybarge has more health, costs more, and has the mech tag. The cannon does not have the mech tag. So, honestly, relatively good card. It gives you 2 more health over the cannon, which isn't in standard anymore anyway. So, honestly, just another decent card pushing for that aggressive pirate warrior. Skyfin. 5 cost, 3/3 neutral Murloc. Battlecry, if you're holding a dragon, summon 2 random Murlocs. So I think what this kind of card is kind of trying to do is maybe trying to go back to the DBM decks, where it's dragons, murlocs, and beasts. Because you have the Scale Worm, still in standard, which has a battle cry of something, if you're holding a dragon type thing, and it has a beast tag. There's a Murloc that does kind of the same thing. There's another card that does a similar thing of buffing, but it's a Murloc. There's Sated Threshodon you could do, which is a beast that has a death threat of summoning Murlocs. I don't know if they're trying to push for that, but they're kind of pushing for... Looks like they're kind of pushing for that. It's very helpful in Wild for a DBM deck. That would be kind of cool. I don't know if it's necessarily great in Wild, but very much could try it. Squall Hunter. 4-cost, 5/7 Shaman Dragon with spell damage +2 and overload 2. Very good for the cost. Normally people don't have to worry too much about the overload. Spell damage +2 is always good for Shaman. Very strong spell damage card too. Blizzard has been getting a lot better at, or the Hearthstone team seems to be getting a lot better at kind of gauging spell damage now, because they're giving +2 and +3, like a lot more generously, which is nice. Because most of the stuff that it's been before is understated and then spell damage +1. Just spell damage +1. It's not really worth it then. So I think putting a spell damage +2 on this, even though it's got decent stats, is, I think, a perfectly safe move. The only issue with it is it makes Lightning Breath really good. If you have another dragon in your hand at that point. Storm's Wrath. 1-cost Shaman spell. Give your minions +1/+1. Overload 1. I don't necessarily see this being that great in Shaman, because I don't think Shamans generally play big board or token type deck. So I don't necessarily see this being that great. Because with Shaman, generally it's a control Shaman, or it's aggressive, or Glokron probably, but probably won't have Storm's Wrath. I don't see this really fitting Shaman either. Plus, it's Overload 1. There's a card that's flat out better than this, which would be Mark of the Lotus. It does the exact same effect for Druid, but doesn't have the Overload. So, I don't really see it really meaning much or doing anything. Strength in Numbers. 1-cost Druid spell, or Druid side quest, I'm sorry. Spend 10 mana on minions, reward summon a minion from your deck. Honestly, could be really good, or could be really bad. Play the side quest, you play a bunch of stuff, it's like, oh, here's your reward, and then it summons some little thing. Or it could summon some gigantic thing. Maybe you're just playing with a bunch of big dudes, so it for sure pulls that out. You can run 2 of these. Play this in Wild, you also gotta play Jungle Giants too with this. I don't know. It's tough, because a token deck for sure ain't gonna run this. Token don't care. Summoning a minion? Oh, wow. Most likely that minion that it's summoned for a token deck had a battle cry of summoning more stuff, so it wasn't that great to even pull it out. So, I don't know what... Maybe a Treant deck? Maybe, I don't know. Just pulls out a Mulch Muncher? Maybe that would be nice. Honestly, not sure. I didn't skip one. Okay, good. Thought I accidentally skipped one. 1-cost, 1/3 Shaman Elemental. Surging Tempest. Has +1 attack while you have overloaded mana crystals. So, overloading mana crystals is very common for Shaman. Super easy. So, this is just a strong card. Most of the time, it's probably going to be... Overload Shaman's another thing. That's another type of deck. So that also helps out the Squall Hunter a lot as well. So honestly, a lot of the time, I think you're going to see this as a 2-3, which is just great stat line for a 1 cost. Just super strong. Obviously going to go into some kind of overload deck if that's a thing. So very good, very strong. Tasty Flyfish. This is the card I was talking about being similar to Skyfin. It's a Murloc, but does dragon type stuff. So 2 cost, 2/2 Murloc. Neutral Murloc. Death Rattle, give a dragon in your hand +2/+2. Fairly good. 2/2 is always a little understated, but it has that good Death Rattle. Buffing, maybe they're really trying to push for a DBM deck. I'm not sure, because this is another Murloc card that for sure is a shoo-in for a DBM. Because literally any interconnection of cards for them is a shoo-in for a DBM. So Tasty Flyfish would be a shoo-in. Skyfin's a shoo-in. Scale Worm's a shoo-in. Sated Threshodon is normally in there, I think. Probably not. Maybe, though. There's some other ones that are like, if this happens, and Curator for Wild, I'm talking. Honestly, very much playable. I'd say it's decent. Tentacle Menace. A 5 cost, 6/5 neutral minion. Battlecry, each player draws a card and swaps their cost. So, I guess this is maybe going for you're playing a bunch of big stuff, I guess? And then hoping you draw a big dude, your opponent draws a small dude, and then you get to play your big dude for cheap. I don't honestly know what this is necessarily going for. Druid? Big Druid? I don't know. Big Warrior? We got Dimensional Ripper. That's still a card. A Boom Reaver? I'm honestly not sure. Let's just move on to the next card. Okay. Transmorgifier. 2 cost, 2/3 neutral minion. After you draw a card, transform it into a random legendary minion. Random legendary minions are okay. They can sometimes be trash. They can sometimes be great. We've seen this in the past, where it's like this card, randomly legendary stuff. It's not as great as it sounds. It's really not. So a 2 cost, 2/3 isn't a bad stat line. Drawing cards, most likely you're drawing a card that you actually wanted, and now it's transformed into a random legendary. Even spells are changed into random legendaries. Minions. Specifically minions. Can't get a random legendary weapon. Can't get a random legendary quest, because quests are technically legendary stuff. Because you can only run one. Honestly, I don't get the point of this card either. Reinforcements be here. 1 cost, Druid spell. Choose one. Give a minion +2 health and taunt, or summon 2/2 Treant. Or do both with Untapped Potential. But Untapped Potential probably won't run this, because doing both of the choose ones really isn't that effective. Honestly, most likely, I see this in some type of a Treant deck where you just play this for a 1 cost 2/2 Treant. It's literally the point I see this as. The +2 health and taunt really isn't amazing. I'd rather just summon a 2/2 Treant early. That way I can get a bunch of Treants going, buff up my Treants, Savage Roar, kill. Like, Treant decks are normally like a Treant/token deck where you summon a bunch of Treants, you buff your Treants, and you go. Or worst case scenario, if all your Treants die, now you got the Mulch Muncher to help out with trying to control board while you have no treants and try to get your treants back. It's honestly, treant decks I find very much fun to play. That's also just me. So, what else we got? We got the Troll Bat Rider. 4 cost, 3/3 neutral. Battlecry, deal 3 damage to a random enemy minion. I mean, it's just okay. Not really anything special that we've probably seen. Nothing out of the ordinary. I'd say it's just an okay card that could maybe go somewhere if it's a needed card. It's nothing real special. Oh boy. Grande? No, it's not. Grapple Sniper. I'm just calling him Grapple Sniper. 6 cost, 5/5 neutral. Battlecry, both players draw a card. If it's a dragon, summon it. So basically, with this card, you're playing a dragon deck for sure. And hoping your opponent isn't playing a dragon deck, so they don't get anything out of this guy. Honestly, probably still will not see much play because it's too high rolly, I think. 6 cost, 5/5 is a bit understated, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up drawing a spell, and then you don't get anything. And your opponent will have a dragon, and he'll get his thing, and you'll just be upset. That's how it's going to go. Valdris Phil George. I know that's George at the end. Phil George. Okay. 7 cost, 4/4. Very understated. Battlecry, increase your maximum hand size to 12. Draw 4 cards. This card is super cool. Super unique. They're trying to push for another handlock deck, I think, with Warlock. But I don't honestly think there's enough support for a handlock deck. I mean, I guess this helps plot twist. Like no, I don't think there's enough support for a handlock because Molten Giant isn't allowed in the standard. Mountain Giant is allowed. What else you got? You've got more coils normally are in there. Cabal Librarian, I believe, is out of... Yeah, that is out of standard. What else was normally run in there? Wilford Fizzlebang is out of standard. Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's enough for a hand lock in standard. This will maybe help out a hand lock in wild, but not in standard. That's not happening. Violet Spellwing. 1 cost, 1/1 Mage Elemental. Death Rattle, add an Arcane Missile spell to your hand. See, we're back to a 1 cost, 1/1 that adds something to your hand, which proves once again how strong the Sky Raider is. Honestly, not a bad card. 1 cost, 1/1. Would you rather just have an Arcane Missiles in your deck, or would you rather have this? I'd honestly rather have this card, because it also gives you a 1/1 stat. Yes, it's going to end up costing more, because now you're paying an extra 1 before you're getting to pay 1 for the Arcane Missiles. But I don't think this is going for an aggressive deck. Arcane Missiles, I think, is generally in a more aggressive deck. Violet Spellwing is not looking for an aggressive deck. Honestly, because it's a 1 cost, 1/1. Honestly, relatively decent, I think. Whispers of Evil. 0 cost, priest spell. Add a lackey to your hand. Just good. Look at Sinister Deal, which is, for 1 more, you get to discover the lackey instead of just adding a random one into your hand. Honestly, this is just another good card. Wing Commander. I had fun with this one. I had fun with this card. I'm like, let's just randomly make a Dragon Paladin kind of deck quick because I have a quest to play a bunch of dragons. So when I played this, he had 16 attack. He is a 4-cost 2/5 neutral minion. Has +2 attack for each dragon in your hand. I had a lot of dragons in my hand. He was dragon. Actually, I think it was 12, which is still a lot. That's what, 5 more? No, 4 more dragons only. Because it starts with 2, and then it goes 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh no, only 4. Only 4. My bad. 5 would be if he started at 0. Yeah. No, I think he might have been up to 16 then, actually. He might have been up there. Overall, he can be devastating. He can be a huge, devastating card that just does a whole crap ton of damage. Wyrmrest Purifier. 2-cost, 3/2 neutral minion. Battlecry, transform all neutral cards in your deck into random cards from your class. I have no clue if this is targeted towards that Paladin card, where it's like, if you don't have any neutrals, you get to do a thing. Cool. So I'm not really seeing this. This is similar to Renounced Darkness, I guess, in a way. Where they changed all the class cards to a different class, and they all cost 1 less, which still is a very memey deck. And with this, it's also, I think, kind of just looking for another memey deck. It's not amazing. It's not great. It's completely random and just kind of, you're just hoping for a good roll. Zoldrak Ritualist. 4-cost, 3/9 neutral with taunt. Battlecry, summon 3 random 1-cost minions for your opponent. And the 1-cost minions aren't honestly that big, but on average, after those 1-cost attack, you're probably down to a 3/5, I guess, is the way that you would do it. But the best thing you could do is play this dude and then do like a consecration, some kind of board clear. So then he's still going to sit at that 3/9 stat line. Honestly, he's not horrendous. He's not great. He's just kind of okay. I don't really know what to say too much on this. He's okay. 8-cost, 4/12 Warlock Dragon. Zaruk the Warped. Whenever your hero takes damage, summon a 6/6 Nether Dragon. Nether. Words. Not a terrible card. Honestly, pretty dang good, I think. Because with Warlock, I guess they're, with this card, they're pushing for a self-damage Warlock, which they gave us more self-damage stuff in the last expansion, so there's a good amount of support for a self-damage Warlock, and this just helps more with the self-damage Warlock. Because you can literally play this and life tap on the exact same turn to have a 4/12 and a 6/6 for 10. Which is good. And there's a bunch of other self-damage type cards that you can run in here. I forget what most people will probably Hellfire would be in there, maybe. I know there's the 3-cost, what is he? 3-cost 4/5 that whenever he attacks, he deals 3 damage to your hero. He'd probably be running here then. It's probably gonna be dark packs, sack packs, just to heal back up, so then you can take more damage. The Disease Vulture would for sure be in it. There's just a bunch of ways Warlock can hurt himself. Because you know what? It's Warlock. It's what he likes to do. Grave Rune. 4-cost Priest spell. Give a minion death rattle. Summon 2 copies of this. I have seen this played very well, which I've already expected that it was going to be a great card because of how strong it would be. Play this on Convincing Infiltrator is very freaking good, especially when Convincing Infiltrator also has Reborn. Yeah. Do that on Obsidian Statue, too. It will be even better. Oh my gosh, this card. It is. It's actually ridiculously strong. Like, I am worried for what Priest can do now. They're like, I'll just resurrect after they all die. I'll just mass resurrection all my Convincing Infiltrators. And then I'll give them Grave Rune next turn and some Reborn, and you're just gonna hate playing this game. Not really, I love playing Hearthstone. You're just gonna hate that matchup for sure. My goodness, that is already scary thinking of that. I gotta do that at some point. Heck yeah, it should go into my Quest Wall Priest. I made a Quest Wall Priest. I don't know what I'm doing. It doesn't work. Really doesn't. I'm gonna keep trying though on it. But anyway, that is all the cards of Descent of Dragons now that I have talked about. Next time, I will be talking through the classes now. I don't remember what class I put first. But that'll be next time. Talking about the next class, and then the next class, and so on and so forth until I get to neutrals. I talk about those. I'm going to try to get some Wind Waker out on Friday. I can't guarantee any. Probably I'll have to work on that on Thursday. And then hopefully I will get it up on Friday. I'm going to start trying to do that again of getting Wind Waker up every Friday. Because I'm now on Christmas break from school, so I have time to do it. It's just this week is going to be cutting it close because it's actually Christmas week this week. So it's going to be tough, but we're going to try. I am going to try my darndest. So I will see you all next time.